What's up guys, Joey Vasquez here. I'm going to be showing you guys how I went about drawing this piece. I'm going to be talking about my process and I'm going to be answering some of your guys' questions. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so jumping right in, right here what you guys see is the full layout sketch of this background that I've been working very hard to get done. So I'm just going to be talking about some of the tools I'm using here. Right here I'm using my touch liners. Oh, I dropped one. And those are really good for inking. I've been using them for about a year now. And then I'm also using some red pencil lead. I also use my Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. You can get that off jetpens.com. Let's see. And I also use my Copic sketch markers for doing any like kind of fill-ins. Those are nice for doing the big black fill-ins. I also use my Pentel Pocket Brush Pen for that as well. So going right in here, I'm gonna try my best to answer some of you guys' questions along with talking about my process. For drawing backgrounds, it's honestly been one of my weaknesses. I'll be fully honest with you guys. This is one of the few times I've gone fully traditional and drew an actual nice looking background. And I'm really happy with how it came out, but I want to let you guys know that I am in no way a veteran of drawing backgrounds. I'm still quite new at drawing backgrounds and drawing them well. I want to try to draw them well at least, but the whole thing about getting better about for drawing backgrounds is, just practice. You can kind of moan and whine about not wanting to draw them, but unless you actually do it, you're not going to improve on it. So my biggest suggestion to you guys, if you're struggling with backgrounds, draw more backgrounds. You're not going to get anywhere in your art if you're not trying to improve in the areas you need work in. So that's my biggest recommendation to you guys. It's just like, if you're not good at something, you just got to practice. That's all it takes. It's just practice and a lot of time. So make sure you're asking yourself, am I investing my time in practicing in my art, or am I doing other things? So where you spend your time is ultimately where it's going to show. So spend your time working on drawing the things that you're not that great at, and you will improve on them. So I'm going to get to some of the questions here. Let's see. Marcel Morgan Art on Instagram is asking, it's a silly question, but how do you start your drawings? Do you have a special technique to draw body / background, etc.? Sorry for my bad English. Greetings from Germany. No problems. No problem about the, you got across your point just fine. To answer your question, how do I start my drawings? I start it with a basic sketch. If you look right here, everything's laid out in red pencil. That's all my basic structure lines. And if you've ever watched a building being built, there's always an understructure. Otherwise, the building's not going to stand. So drawing is a lot like making a building. You need to have a good standing structure, otherwise your building is going to fall flat. So make sure you practice your forms, your anatomy, and look to understand the structure of how the form is created. The same can be said about backgrounds, understanding your perspective and understanding how these shapes look in different angles. So a lot of drawing bodies, like when you're creating bodies, you're just drawing the shapes first. You're drawing the shape of the body. So just practice drawing like the arms as like cylinders as opposed to full detailed muscle. So focus on your shapes and structure and then move on to details. Let's see. But yeah, drawing anytime you guys want to, you know, improve at or want to know what kind of techniques I'm using, it's mostly just practice. There's no secret formula. Some people don't want to hear that, but it's honestly just sitting at the drawing board and just putting pencil or pen to paper and just drawing as much as you can. So that is my biggest suggestion to you guys. If you want to get better at drawing, please just draw every day. Draw as much as you can. All right, let me see one of these other questions. Um, what's the best way to learn body proportions and how to draw hair? I would say, look at reference, draw from life. I mean, it's great to. When I started out, I would definitely draw from comic books, but you know what? If all you do is draw from comic books, you're not going to understand what real anatomy and real form looks like. So make sure you're drawing from life, because I didn't really understand that until way later in my drawing. And as I look at like photos and stuff, I realize, you don't need to draw realistic. You just need to understand the structure of the character and the proportions. You know, like I'd say drawing cartoony is more about making things stylized and more flowy and just kind of more fun. But realistic, I would say things are more proportioned and have um, what is it? Have a better sense of symmetry to them. So make sure that you guys are studying both, I would suggest. I mean, if you're a realistic artist, try looking at cartoony things. If you're a cartoony artist, make sure you're looking at realistic stuff. So you can learn a lot from both, as would be my suggestion. Um, let's see. How do you decide how big to make a figure in proportion to the background, is what Maddie B. Westside asks from Instagram. Deciding the figure, trying to figure out scale and like where your character is. Like if your character is right up in your face, um, then the background may stay the same, but it's about knowing how to place your character in proper perspective. So making sure that your character or characters or just people in general, they look like they belong in that space. They look like they're actually standing there. So deciding is based off of like how the perspective is placed. So learning how to draw bodies in proper perspective is the best way to go about that. Let's see. How many camera angles for a comic page, or how do you handle camera angles for a comic page? It really depends on what the script calls for and what's going to help the reader understand what's going on, and also about proper placement and for the characters, and also you got to take into account if there's a bunch of word bubbles in, you may want to make the characters a little bit smaller, or zoom out a little bit so that way the word bubbles can fit in there. So that's what I would suggest, making sure you're keeping those things in mind. Let's see. We're going to hop over to some of the questions on Facebook. I was thinking about submitting some samples at WonderCon LA for review. What do you think would be good? Never done samples before. What I would suggest, if you guys are planning on doing any samples, and like I'm currently doing here, this whole page is another sample page. Do 4 to 5 finished sample pages of your favorite character, Marvel or DC, but make sure you take your time on the pages. Don't rush them, because is the editors are going to look at your page and they're going to nitpick it and tell you what everything you're doing wrong in the page. And they'll tell you what you're doing right, but they're there to help you improve in what you're doing. So they're gonna be looking for the mistakes you've made. So the fewer mistakes you make, the better. Before you submit your samples, this is kind of where you got to be honest with yourself. You know, is your work on par with what is already being published out there? If it's not, you may want to practice a bit more before submitting, because there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get work from Marvel and DC or any of the other publishers, and the truth of the matter is, you have to be much better than them. Your work has to stand out among like all the hundreds or thousands of submissions these editors get. So if it's not up to par, there's going to be less of a chance. If it is, then you'll probably have more of a chance. So just make sure that you're honest with yourself and your work. I'm not saying that to be hurtful or anything. I'm saying that as like from their perspective. They're not going to hire everybody, so you got to be much better than the other people who are submitting. So that's my answer to that question. Let's see. Somebody asked, is this page based off of a script? And no, it is not. I just decided to do this page on my own and make it more fun than what the other scripts were calling for. So that's why there's more stylistic panels and such. And we're going to jump back over on to some of the questions from Instagram, because we've been getting a few of those. How long did it take you to draw pages on paper? To draw this page, at least. This took me around 2 days to fully complete this page. And I think that's at least what you want to aim for in terms of getting your pages done. Like, getting them done in 1 day or 2 days is what you want to aim for, especially if you have deadlines. Because when you're working on an actual book with a team of people, you got to make sure you get your stuff done so that way they can get their stuff done. So it's making sure you have a team mentality for when you work on a book. So, I'm sorry, guys. I apologize for any time I fall out of frame. Let's see. We'll go through some of these other questions here. If you can show us how to use perspective grid method and how to apply photo reference of New York to a comic page, how do you handle camera angles? I think for this page I use 3-point perspective, but yeah, just looking at photos of cities is what I would definitely suggest. And also making sure you understand how to place perspective. So there's a ton of other videos and books out there that could explain perspective better than me. I feel like I would end up just messing it up. But yeah, definitely look those up. Just look up like how to draw perspective, and there'll probably be like 100 other things that you can find for doing that. And like I said earlier, guys, I am in no way a master of drawing perspective. I've been trying to get better at it, and I am still working hard at improving in my drawing. So just know that I am still learning a lot as well. So that's my answer to that. Let's see. Yeah, another person asked if the background was referenced yet. I want to let you guys know that making sure you're referencing from things is very important. So if you don't know what something looks like, look it up. If you don't know what a certain animal looks like and that's what you need to draw, then look up reference. You have great tool called the internet, and and it just takes a few a dash of the fingers across the keyboard, and you'll have those references right there. Also, same for like if you're looking for any art books or anything, just you can search those up. Um, I think I also wanted to talk about on this video was um, in terms of getting your artwork out there in front of people. And some people will want to know how to get more followers and how to get them quicker. And what I would suggest, because this is kind of the mentality you have to have for getting your work noticed, is honestly don't worry about getting followers or likes. Don't worry about getting watchers on DeviantArt or people retweeting your stuff or whatever. Worry about your artwork. Worry about the quality of your artwork. Once the quality of your artwork starts to go up, and the more you practice and the better you become, more people are going to follow you. And also the other part of that though is making sure you're staying active and frequently posting things. I see a lot of people who are great artists, but they're not hardly posting anything, um, and probably because they're working on other projects. But if they're more freelance and they're not doing anything, but they're great artists, you guys gotta post stuff. You gotta um, make your presence known, because there's a lot of other voices shouting, and if you're not making your presence known out there, less people are gonna hear you. So make sure you are frequently posting, keeping people up to date on what you're doing, and making sure that that you're not always focused on the likes or anything. Make sure you're focused on the quality of your art, and the likes and the comments and everything will come. It's kind of like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So build your skills up, guys, and the people will come around. All right, so now we're a little bit further along in the drawing, and I wanted to take this time to talk about improvement. Like I was saying earlier, you know, in order to get followers, you need to you need to improve in your art. So now it's about asking yourself, what is it that I need to improve on? And I wanted to touch on this subject because I keep getting asked the same question: is how do you get better? How can I improve in my drawing? How can I improve my drawing? And I get asked this a lot, and it really comes down to what's your mindset at? Is this important to you? If if getting better at drawing is important to you, then you need to dedicate the time to it. I have spent the better end of 15 years drawing almost every day, and that's how you improve. You have to be drawing every day. You have to be at your desk doing the work. It's not You're not going to improve on a blank sheet of paper. It's just not going to happen. Even if it's crap, it's better than not drawing. So draw, even though it might not always look good, because you have to keep digging through a lot of bad drawings in order to start getting to the good ones. Because I can tell you right now, uh, let's see, um, 2013 and 2014, I was not good at drawing backgrounds, but because I sat down and started drawing backgrounds, I slowly but steadily have been improving on them. I'm still working on improving on them, and I want to get better. And so it's all about asking yourself, how much do you want to get better, and making sure that you're actually in the right mindset. If you want to get better at anything, you're gonna work hard to do whatever it takes. But you got to have that drive, and I've had a drive to want to get better and to want to someday work for Marvel or DC. Probably Marvel more than DC because Spider-Man. Um, but just ask yourself of that. See where you are in your mindset. If Because I get asked that question a lot about getting better, and just ask yourself: Are you working hard enough at your craft to get better? So here's some things I would suggest doing to get better. So I'm going to tell you guys some things that I did in order to get better, and I already said practice. Sitting there drawing every day, but practice what? Um, Practice the things that you know you're not good at. Practice, even like if it's for like 10 minutes, but some time is better than no time at all. So let's see. Some things that I would do is I would go ask other people, especially some of the pro artists I've come to know over the years, and I'd ask them to look at my art and tell me what it is they see that I need to improve on. So ask your friends, ask some other artist mentors that you may know that can help you and help point out those things, because sometimes you may not know. Sometimes you don't really understand what it is you need to work on. So make sure you ask. Um, the next thing is, once they tell you, sit down and start doing it. Start practicing that thing. Another thing that I did to improve is I started drawing a lot more from life, and I started looking at photo reference a lot more instead of just comic book artists. Um, so try that if you haven't been really looking at photos. I definitely recommend it, or just drawing from life. Draw your friends, draw your living room, draw your neighborhood, because these kind of subjects will come up like in assignments that you may get. So you want to be able to know how to draw these things. And one of the things I do in order to help me is I have folders of stuff that I save for comic art and for photo reference. And that's another thing. I mean, like, you don't always have to look at photo reference, but it's a good thing if you're wanting to draw something accurately and you're wanting to make something a little bit more believable. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is, like I was saying, I have files, but I have tons of uh, files of my favorite artists and people who inspire me. So, like, I find images and I just save them to those files, and I look back at them to inspire me to create new things. So, and I also look at different techniques that they are using, and I try to apply them to my own art. So try doing that when you're or drawing. Just look at other artists. Don't try and copy, but try and look at some of the techniques that they're implementing and try and add that to your own art. So we're getting a little further along. I think this is just about done. I'm almost finished inking the rest of this building. So I just want to take this time to thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with the video for this long. I hope that you guys learned something along the way. If you guys have any other kind of questions, please be sure to ask them and leave them in the comments below. I really do want to try and make more YouTube videos for you guys. I hope that this was helpful, and I want to try and come up with more of these. So if you guys have any suggestions on what you maybe want to see, I'll try and do a video, try and maybe do one once a week or so. Oh, also a heads up to you guys, I will be at C2E2, which is the Chicago Comic Con Entertainment Expo, and in about 2 weeks. So make sure you guys mark your calendars for March 18th through the 20th. Table G9. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will check you guys later.